So by now most of you have probably seen this clip of the new 2026 Thomas the Tank Engine design. Either it was on YouTube, where it's being reviewed by dozens of YouTubers, or on Twitter, I'm not calling it X. And this video is less about looking at the new design, but more at the design process. Mattel didn't just show us the design in this new clip, they also shared a document full of the face design process, which I find way more interesting. But before we get into that, I will give my few thoughts on the new design. I think it looks pretty good. The design of Thomas itself, with all the rust marks, it looks pretty realistic, honestly. I love the new storybook design, which I've seen being discussed everywhere. The new fin tracks opposed to the thicker tracks the original CGI series had look way better. And the face, we just have to get used to that. That's just how Thomas is now. If you look at it in some way, it's just Thomas aged back maybe 20 or 30 years with blue eyes. That's the new Thomas. And the number one is a bit bigger. Also, one thing I find really funny, which I noticed, is that Thomas's side rods clip into his axle. So I hope in the final series that gets fixed, and if not, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't fix it. And he does have a really cheeky look to him. I like that it's returning to, it's grasping the cheekiness of Thomas back, which is nice. So this is the design sheet for the face, which I wanted to look at, which I found pretty interesting. And we start, of course, in the middle with the new face design for Thomas the Tank Engine on, which is basically, which I didn't mention in the last clip, which is basically just the original CGI model. I will say, looking at the wheels, the new model does have some updates, but they are almost exactly the same. And I was right in my original interpretation that he didn't have handrails here, which he does now, which is nice. But as you can see, they very much tried basing it on the original model design, which you can probably see here. They're testing a bunch of, let me zoom in for a second. Them testing out a bunch of face variants on this promotional image from the hit era, which I do appreciate that they're really going for it. Here you can see a bunch of tests which are closer to the newer one. A bunch of Thomas faces with dead-eyed expressions, which is pretty funny. This face also comes back a lot, which you can see, in which I presume are test drawings for all the face designs. Which these face boards, yeah, board A to D, there's not a D, well that's fine. You can see what Thomas could have looked like if the producers went for any of these faces, or the test audience liked any of these faces. Like, look at this cheeky smirk. I do like this one. This one looks the most like Thomas's original angry face, so I really like this one. It's just really fascinating seeing what Thomas could have looked like this. What are all these faces, dude? They were really experimenting, and they really tried pushing this face design, which is, in my opinion, it has more of that RWS style, which is probably why they tried pushing it, which you can see here in the corner. There it is, and you can see it down here. Them mostly testing it out on the 80th Thomas model. Here you can see some, I presume, texture tests. Yeah, texture tests of how he would look in different designs or styles. Here's a more open-mouthed version, which honestly, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad. And I just still find it funny that they're testing it out on the 80th model. Here's another one where you can see the model Thomas and the sketching out faces on it. Here are a bunch more designs with more rugged edges. Here's a CGI model test face where they showed a bunch of improvements it could have. Here's a more All Engines Go-esque Thomas and face. And this is just the 80th one. And what surprises me the most about a lot of these designs is that the addition of the blue eyes was pretty late. Like, it was very fine. In the final design, they decided, let's just add the blue eyes. Because in most of these, I don't really see blue eyes. It's very much a finalized design thing, and I think that's, oh wow, look at face number 12, dude. Oh god. But I think that's really because of All Engines Go, because they wanted to touch on every single version of Thomas, mostly leaning towards the classic series and CGI Thomas. But to get that a bit of All Engines Go in there, I think that's why they made Thomas a bit younger and added the blue eyes. I think that's the reason why. Here are more tests, a few eye shading tests to see how that would look eyebrow tests. It's fascinating how much time and effort went into this. Very simplified design, very simple sketches. Also, this board gives me kind of anime vibes. Like, I don't watch anime, but seeing this, especially this wide-eyed expression, wide mouth expression, it's giving me that vibe. The newer stuff is also very cartoony. Yeah, it's really fascinating. There's that. Oh wow, I didn't even notice that. They were actually thinking about doing some more with that smirk. Maybe Thomas would have been evil. Just look at that. Also, in the background of this image, you can see here's an actual image of the original E2 tank engine, just with a lower opacity in the background. You can see here, I think this is from Tender Engines or Strike. I think Tender Engines, I'm not sure. Bill and Ben, a lot of RWS drawings in the background. You can see Henry here. Yeah, that's Henry. There you can see Thomas. I think there's also some All Engines Go somewhere. Oh, there it is. Jesus Christ, this face also. What if Thomas looked like that? Why? Oh, look, you can even... Whoa! Okay, that's cool. You can even see that fan rendition of the Lego Thomas model in the background. And even a Hornby Thomas. Oh, they really were stretching out what they could use as reference. Wow. And CGI Thomas, of course. Daisy even. And of course, all the way in the corner here is Model Thomas underneath this face. So, looking at this, looking at how much thought went into this and what Thomas could have looked like if any of these other faces... Not that they're bad, but some of them are really bad. But what we got to and what test audiences liked, I think they found a decent middle ground. And you can see that they really put some thought into this. Like, even using fan designs and stuff. This is not just them messing around with the design. This is actually just them trying to find a middle ground that every single age group and generation will hopefully like. And you know, I can appreciate that. What I do not appreciate though is all the AI that's being shown recently. Especially, I'm not sure if this is AI, but it very much looks like AI, this new promo image of Sodor, and of course some of the new merchandise boxes. Those are, from what I've heard, also AI, which, you know, it doesn't surprise me that they're using it, but I don't agree with it. But I am glad that they didn't cheap out and use AI for the face. That actually some thought went into this. So, quick 2am edit here. I just saw a community post by Piece of J, which said that Mattel didn't use any AI for promotional art or backgrounds or characters or merchandising. So, you know, good on you, Mattel. Good on you for not cheaping out. I'm honestly pretty proud of you that you didn't take that route. So that gives me hope that this Thomas, I just hope it's good. I just hope the show is good. I didn't even care if the merchandise is good at this point, good or bad at this point. I just want the show to be good, that the core of Thomas is just there. Even though I'm never gonna forgive them for what they did to James and Toby. That's just, no. Especially James. I would love to see James's face sheet. If a James face sheet gets shown, I'll discuss that again, because that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. So honestly, a lot to look forward to, and I'm really excited to see what Mattel is cooking up for the new show.